Hey guys, Aaron Dorr here with Iowa Gun Owners. I lost my voice last week. It's about half back now. I want to do a brief video for you guys on HF 945 and HF 924. As you know, if you get emails from us or follow us on social media, both bills have passed the Iowa House last week. Both bills were referred to the Judiciary Committee in the Senate, and both bills have been referred to a subcommittee. More on all of that in just a few moments. If you're pressed for time, guys, as always, hit the links, plural, 2 links below, and urge the committee in the Senate to move both these bills out of Judiciary and onto the Senate floor for a full vote. So, guys, I just want to back up for a moment and give you guys some context. You know, it wasn't that long ago that Republicans here in Des Moines were pushing for gun control. It was 15, 17 years ago. We had Republicans pushing for AR-15 bans. Fast forward today, for the last 10, 12, 13 years, all gun bills that passed on party line votes. Democrats were always a no vote. The GOP, when they moved gun bills forward, were always a yes vote. Many bills died, but that's kind of how it's been. Everything is changing now here in Iowa. The cultural change that gun owners have helped to create is undeniable now to anybody who was an observer or involved in Iowa politics. Earlier this year, Democrats announced in Des Moines privately they were done advocating for gun control because, as they acknowledged, this effort in support of gun control has cost them their majorities and put them now in minorities so small they, functionally speaking, have very little power left here in Iowa politics. Everything is changing. So when HF 945 passed the Iowa House last week on Tuesday, it passed 89-6. 89-6. In fact, the Democrats offered an amendment to the bill, which actually made the bill better. More on that in a few minutes. When HF 924 passed last week on Wednesday, it passed 79-18. So again, tremendous Democrat crossover support. That is the power that gun owners, that you guys wield now here in Iowa politics. So it's a great day to be involved in the fight for gun rights in Iowa because, again, it's an entirely different dynamic that's ever been in the last 20 years here in Des Moines. So thank you for all of your pre-written emails and your phone calls and your texts to your lawmakers. They are certainly hearing from you. So HF 945, briefly, HF 945 enhances Iowa's stand your ground law in a couple ways. Number one, it clarifies the immunities that we already have in law from both criminal and civil charges if we used reasonable force as defined in the law in a self-defense situation. We've had these immunities before. Frankly, it was kind of loosely worded. And now with Soros prosecutors here in Polk County, we have to be 100% clear that gun owners in Iowa, if we use reasonable, justifiable force, are immune from criminal and civil charges. The bill certainly cleans up and improves that language. That's number one. Number two, HF 945 creates a pre-trial immunity hearing process. This is huge. Right now in Iowa, thanks to how the Supreme Court chose to interpret stand your ground law when it was passed in 2017, we can only invoke stand your ground law on appeal. And that means, of course, your life is a country song. You've been convicted possibly of homicide. You're broke from legal fees. Your neighbors think you're a killer. Then you have the luxury, heavy sarcasm intended, right, of asserting stand your ground law in appeal. This changes all of that and allows you to assert these immunities in a pre-trial hearing. If the judge agrees that, yes, this person used force, here's the reason why, there was justifiable force, that's it. You're done. Charges are dropped. You walk out the door a free man, and you spare yourself the 12 to 36 months hell on earth process of a criminal trial involving the use of force. This is a massive improvement for gun rights. Now, what the Democrats did is they offered an amendment on this bill. And again, it was a great amendment. And it said, hey, if you invoke these immunity hearings in a pre-trial hearing, this immunity status, and the judge disagrees, you can still assert it again when you're actually at trial. It was a great amendment. We're very thankful to have had it. And that bill, that language was adopted onto the bill, which then passed the Iowa House by, again, a vote of 89-6. That is HF 945. And we have to have this. This provides real protections that we have to have in an era when we still have Soros prosecutors who are looking for a way to go after gun owners like you and me for the crime of self-defense. That's HF 945. HF 924 lowers the age when an Iowan can possess a handgun or apply for a concealed carry permit. Right now, you have to be 21 here in Iowa to apply for a concealed carry permit or to possess a handgun. But it wasn't always that way. It used to be 18. And so the Democrats, when they passed shall issue here in Iowa back in 2010, so 15 years ago now, they raised it from 18 to 21. When I got my carry permit at the age of 18 in Osceola County, it had been that way for decades and decades and decades. So all we're trying to do is go back to the 18-year threshold that Iowa enjoyed until 2010. It has to happen, number one, because it's just simply constitutional. You know, if an Iowan can fight and die for their country at 18, buy a home, pay taxes, have a career, get married, have kids, they should certainly have the ability to defend themselves with a handgun. It's asinine that they cannot. And so that's one reason. The second reason is that the courts have ruled now, both the Supreme Court in the Bruin decision and the Eighth Circuit in a case out of Minnesota, which applies to us here in Iowa, that it is unconstitutional to require someone to be 21 years of age to possess a handgun. That is not in the Constitution, and nor is it in our country's historical analogs, which is the requirement established by the Supreme Court's Bruin case from 2022. So basically, Iowa can lower the age voluntarily, or someone's going to sue them over it and lower it in the courts. So that's what that bill would accomplish. Now, some people have asked us, well, don't you have to be 21 to buy a handgun? The answer actually is no. You have to be 18 to buy a handgun in this country. That is federal law. And the state law currently says you have to be 21, but federal law requires you to be 18. Federal law does require dealers not sell a handgun to anybody under the age of 21. That applies on the sales side. But on the purchase side, an American, certainly that covers Iowans, is allowed to buy a handgun from a private party seller at the age of 18. So, for example, when I got my carry permit at the age of 18 in Osceola County, I used a handgun given to me by a family member until I turned 21 and could then go out there and buy my own handgun. So that's what will be required here in Iowa if we pass HF 924, is that an Iowan could get a carry permit, but they could not get a purchase permit until they were 21. Carry permit at 18, purchase permit at 21. And for those intervening years, you simply get a firearm from your parents or you buy one privately. That is totally legal. That is current federal law. So these are two major bills, two major improvements for gun rights here in Iowa. We have great news. On Tuesday, yesterday, HF 924 passed subcommittee in the Senate on a 3-2 vote. That was Senators Webster, Schultz, and Bisignato. Bisignato, the Democrat, has said what I just said. He said, you know what? I'm not sure that we can possibly oppose this because either it's constitutional or it's not. Either you're an adult at 18 or you're not. And so this is Senator Bisignato, don't like more guns in our streets, but I don't see a way for us to oppose this in light of the Constitution. So a very circumspect and legitimate decision from the Democrat senators on that subcommittee. HF 945 has not yet been heard in subcommittee, but it has been assigned to a subcommittee. Senators Schultz, Dawson, and Knox are the three senators on this subcommittee. That could be heard as early as tomorrow, but as of right now, it has not yet been assigned an actual hearing date. So both bills are moving forward, but they've got to continue to hear from you guys here in Des Moines. Hit the links below and tell the Senate committee, the Judiciary Committee, to vote yes on HF 945 and to vote yes on HF 924 with no weakening amendments. That's the update, guys. Take action, make your voice heard, and we'll keep you guys informed. Take care.